Oh, I didn't say you could start recording.
Hey everyone, so today I'm going to be working on some Moana fan art, and before we start I just wanted to give you a reminder about last week's video in case you haven't seen it. It was an ice fantasy themed picture for the YouTube Artist Collective, so check it out if you haven't, and also be sure to check out all the other videos that are part of the collective because there's some amazing art in there. I also just want to tease next week's video because I've been working on a painting. You guys know I did this one recently just as like a little test acrylic painting. Well, now I'm doing something that's more kind of what I usually do, but in paint form, and this is how it's turning out so far. I'm really liking it and I'm having a ton of fun with the paints. I'm using those dollar store acrylics again, except the brown. I used a different set of paints for the brown, but I'm liking how it's turning out, so that will be next week's video. Do you like these intro things? I feel like I just want it to be more personal. I don't want it to be just be like, okay, here's a speed paint where you don't see me, or like, I don't know. I feel like this is more interactive. I tried getting some of that in my videos back in the day when I did the green screen thing, but it was just kind of too much work and distracting, so I feel like intros just work better. Anyway, let's move on to the subject of this video, which is Moana. This is the sketch I did for it. It took me forever to do this. I did it during my Tuesday live stream, and it took me the entire 10-hour live stream to do this sketching and inking. So yeah, those tattoos, man. But the tattoos look way too harsh in black like this because they're not really pure black. They're more like a dark bluish gray. So I edited it in Photoshop so that his tattoos are lighter and then printed it out. So that is what it looks like now. I'm going to be coloring this one with my Copic markers, so let's get started. So the first thing I have to say is that if you have not seen Moana, you need to go see it. It is a gorgeous movie, great story. It left me in tears throughout like the last 2/3 of it. I survived the first third of it without tears, and then it was just waterworks for the whole movie. I cannot wait to see it again, so hopefully I can see it in theaters one more time before it's out. But I'm not going to really talk about it. I don't want to say anything spoilery, so I'm just going to talk about the art itself. So for a style, I wanted it to still be very recognizable, that it's those characters, not just in their outfits, because that's obviously them, but I mean more in the face. I wanted it to be sort of a mix between my style and then how they actually look in the movie. Like, for example, Maui's eyes are smaller than how I drew them, but I just didn't want them to be too small and beady. Like, I don't know, I kind of just wanted to have a little bit of my touch to it, you know, not trying to recreate the exact style from the movie, but I want it to be close. And for the pose, it's meant to be kind of playful, so I'm kind of thinking maybe he's poking fun at her size because he's so huge and she's so small in comparison, and so he has his hand on her head, kind of like he's about to ruffle up her hair or something, and kind of just thinking like, look how puny you are, and then she's laughing, kind of like letting out a little giggle is what she's doing. So that's the story behind the pose. And then of course I had to add in Hey in there since he's like the main animal sidekick, so I decided to put him on Maui's hand just so he kind of fills up that space on that side of the picture, because there's nothing really there except his tattoos, and they do fill the space, but I still felt like something had to go there. And I initially thought maybe I would incorporate Maui's hook or Moana's paddle, but those are both really big props and there was just no room in the picture if I wanted to go with a pose like this, and it's not really necessary anyway, so I decided to just not include those at all. I had a bit of a struggle coloring the skin because some of the colors I was using were drying up as I was using them, and one of them, the E11, I actually have two E11 markers, one's a sketch, one's a chow, and the sketch dried up, so then I tried switching to the chow, then the chow eventually dried up because I've had that chow like since forever. I think it was in my first set of Copics that I got. And so Those both died, and also my E13. So the E11 was the lightest color that is really necessary for blending, and then there's the E13, the mid-tone, also dead. So I was only left with the darkest color, so I was like, huh, what do I do here? And so I picked out some similar colors. I used E33 as my new mid-tone, and then I used YR02, which is a slight orangey color, to make it a bit warmer because their skin tone is a pretty warm brown, and so I used that to warm it up. And then I also used YR01 to blend it out into the lightest color. And I got away with using my E11 as much as I could, and sometimes if I just set it down and stopped using it for 5 minutes, it would, a little bit more juice would kind of make its way to the brush nib, and then I could keep coloring. And I actually used the chisel nib for a while too, because sometimes if one nib dries up, you could just switch over to the other nib and there's still ink there. So that's how I did it. It's because I store my markers on their sides. If I stored them with the brush nib down like I used to, the ink would always run to that side, and so it would feel like your markers are lasting longer. And then now that I lay them on their sides, it feels like they dry up, but sometimes they just need to sit for a bit. But these ones definitely are getting to the end of their lifespan. I really wanted to include Maui because I love his character design, and because not a lot of people draw Maui, they always just draw Moana, and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna draw Maui. And then it's not that I regretted my decision, it's just that it was so much work with the tattoos. Like I mentioned in the intro, it took ages. It was so worth it though. And I know some people were questioning why I drew all his tattoos in this sketch and then basically redrew them when I inked them. I was really just tracing over them. There's no way I would go in and freehand the tattoos in ink. Like, no. I already erased a lot as I was drawing them, trying to get the positioning right, trying to get them to look semi-decent, and trying to decipher the reference images I was using because they weren't the highest resolution. I mean, I had one pretty good one, but then I couldn't see certain tattoos, so I had to look at a different image, but it was kind of blurry, and so there was a lot of figuring out involved. And there's no way I would want to do that straight in inks, so that's why I basically drew all the tattoos twice. If you want to see more Moana art from me, I did actually draw baby Moana in a previous video, but that was part of my no thumbs challenge, so if you haven't seen that and you're on a Moana kick, go watch that. Not only were Maui's tattoos really detailed, but so was Moana's outfit. There's lots of texture in the skirt and the shirt and all that. And then also Maui's leaves, because they're different shapes, different sizes, different colors. That took a while. And I really only matched the main leaves, and the rest of them I just made a random color because they're also drawn a bit randomly. Like I mentioned, I made sure to get the main leaves, but then the ones underneath I just kind of filled in space where I felt like it was appropriate, because I didn't want to draw every single leaf exactly as it appeared in the reference image. I also just want to say thank you so much to you guys for watching my videos and being subscribed. I just hit 700,000 subscribers the other day, which is insane. So thank you all so much for taking an interest in my art and my videos and everything, because I have a blast with these and it wouldn't be nearly as fun without you guys. So thanks for watching. As a finishing touch, I used a pencil crayon to add some stray hairs to both characters, and that was it. This is the finished picture. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.